We invite you to take a look at the fourth episode featuring Roxana Ionescu, partner at Nesta Diacolescu Kingston Peterson, Romania, speaking to Gabriela Popescu, legal director at Microsoft Romania, regarding data privacy challenges in Romania and the essential role of GCs in digitalisation processes.
Welcome to this edition of the Legal 500's corporate conversation on data privacy, the first we are holding today with a leading general counsel based in Romania. I'm Roxana Ionescu, partner and head of the data protection and privacy practice at Nesta Diacolescu Kingston Peterson, or NNDKP for short, a pioneer provider of integrated legal and tax services in Romania. Today, I have the pleasure to moderate a conversation with Gabriela Popescu, legal head of Microsoft Romania and one of the leading general counsel in Romania. Before starting, I would like to thank our hosts, Legal 500, for setting up and facilitating this discussion, which we all hope will offer immediate actionable insights to all our listeners. Today, our topic focuses on some of the main data privacy challenges in Romania on the backdrop of the post-COVID-19 emergency recovery, GDPR's third anniversary, and a lot of regulatory development in the artificial intelligence, cloud, and data transfers areas. We at NNDKP follow all these developments closely, including through our user-friendly tool, Privacy Out Loud blog, one of our initiatives through which we intend to bridge the gap between theory and practice. But now it is interesting to learn a general counsel's perspective on the same topics. So Gabriela, thank you for accepting our invitation.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much, Roxana, for inviting me. And thank you, dear colleagues from Legal 500, to organize this event. I'm very honored to be together with you today, next to colleagues from Romania who are part of similar events, colleagues that I highly respect, or colleagues that will be part of the similar events.
Now, let's start. What is, in your opinion, the biggest data privacy challenge faced in companies in Romania? I know we start with a predictable question.
This is thank you for the question, Roxana. Thank you for putting all the questions together. This is a very interesting question, and it's a very complex one. And while it might look simple, because it might look as a very simple question, the truth is that it's a very complex one, and I would say that there are more than one challenges, and these have different roots. While data privacy as a concept, I mean, protecting information about people or information about data in general, it's a very it's a topic or a concept that it's very long time. We know about it for very long time. The rules that were created in the last year are to a very high extent a change in paradigm and a change of mentality. And we have to understand them, we have to absorb them. And sometimes this does not come natural, because it was quite a chance. I'm sure that both of us remember very well the times when in Romania, I don't know how it was in other countries, but in Romania we have what it was called book phones. Book phones, which is a direct and simple translation, was a very thick book where you could find all the inhabitants from a city with their home address and their phone numbers. And this was something that each of us had in our house. And when we wanted to call someone, we were looking, it was an alphabetical order, and we found there all the people that had a phone, and we could find the phone number. We could also find the home address. And that was the normality. As I said, we all had such a book in our houses, and we all use it, and we looked at it like that was normal life. Well, switching from that practice and that mentality to where we are today, it's quite a change. And like all the changes on everything, to understand them, to absorb them, to understand why they are necessary, and then further to respect them or to implement them if you are a company, it can take some time. So we started with a journey from where we were some years ago with data and how we protected them. And we are in the today world where we are very regulated, we have very clear rules, and we are looking on how to respect them. And with those rules, we can see different type of challenges of different nature related to data privacy. And I would mention a few, and I'm mentioning them not in the order of importance. I'm just mentioning them the way they come to me. It can be challenge coming from lack of access to information, or I mean, not, I would probably better say proper training, because today information is there. I mean, probably today information is there more than any time in the history. So the information is there, but I would say lack of access to proper training. I would add also as a challenge improper technical structure. From the experience or the practice that we have in Romania, I would add that when we are looking on how to protect data or what it's about data, which are the rules, I would like to mention the perception barriers rather than legal barriers. And also I would mention legislation that was not updated. Things are changing very fast from the technological point of view, and legislation is not always changing with the same path. It's not matching. Legislation might not match the changes that we have in technology. So these were just a few of them, and as I said, they have different routes, and I think it's obvious from listing them that they have different routes. And if I would have to choose two of them, again, based on the practice, based on my role in the company where I work, I would, if I would have again to choose two of them, I would choose the perception barriers. And when we are talking about perception barriers, it's what people believe the rules are and what they actually are from the legal perspective. And also, I would mention in not updated or inadequate technical infrastructure. And I would mention, I would just add very few words about each of them. Perception barriers. From practical point of view, again, practice, my day-to-day work, my interactions with people show that we are still dealing with perceived legal limitation rather than perceived barriers rather than real legal barriers. I was just switching words. So people are afraid of doing things because they believe the law says something. Most of the time, there are situations, of course, when law has specific rules which are very clear, but there are also situations when it's more of people said so, or traditionally we are not doing it because, or we are doing it this way because the law says something, while in reality the law does not say the respective things. And this situation can come either from legislation that is not updated, and we do have pieces of legislation in Romania that, as I was mentioning, does not match the technological development. And I would say that this is probably not something specific to Romania, but it's something specific this is something that you can find in lots of other countries, because technology really develops very fast. I mean, it's really moving very fast, and the law is coming, but not as fast. And sometimes even when the law comes, the technology has already evolved and moved to a next step. So sometimes it's a disconnect. So this is one of the source, and also it's a fear for doing something for the first time. People are looking what is happening in the market. They are wondering what the other companies are doing. Even if on the cautious part, let's say that when they look at the law, they realize that there is nothing there to stop them. It's always difficult to be the first one changing things. And when I am thinking of not quite updated technical structure, I would say that not everyone is ready to invest, or simply they don't see the need to invest in technology that would provide proper data privacy protection. Probably partially because they the rule were not yet absorbed, and they don't really see the need of changing what they have for something that would provide better data privacy protection. So this was from my side on this question.
If I have a takeaway from what you mentioned for controllers, education and training is very important when they roll out any kind of product. Not only education for their team, the traditional training concept about explaining the features, but also putting effort into educating potential customers, potential users of the product in order to bridge that gap between the perception and the reality of possible limits, right?
It's very, very correct what you said. We have the rules is there, but if you don't do the training, if you don't train people, if you don't even talk to the customer and explain, it's difficult. So to summarize and to conclude, I totally agree with you. And this is what we are, generally talking to our people or to our customers. It's good to have the procedure. It's very good to have the rule, but it's only one step. It's the first step. If you don't do the training, if the people don't understand what it's in the procedure, what are the rules about, how to apply them, then it's having the rules or having the procedure is only the first step of the process. So training is key.
Thank you. I would actually also pick on the inadequate technical structure you mentioned before and move a little bit the discussion to digitalization. At least in Romania, this is a very popular word and has been for a lot of time. But I'm curious of your perspective, and especially people often downplay the role of general counsels and legal departments when it comes to digitalization. They are the last one to be asked when any digitalization project is being developed in-house. Do you agree with this? What's your perception on that?
That's a very, very nice question, and I like it very much. It's true that traditionally speaking, general counsels will not be involved in this topic, but I can see a change in the paradigm. The way the counselor job it's a structure in Microsoft. I mean, part of what we are doing, we are engaged in talking to the customers when there is a deal, when there is a discussion about a product or a service. We are there, part of the team. This is something. I mean, this is because of the specifics of the product and the services that we sell. Because we sell technology. They are technology. It's sometimes complicated, and because of the products that we sell or the services, we are there with our sales colleagues, explaining, talking to the customers. And I would say that it's very important for us to be there. I said that I saw a change in the paradigm and in change of the approach of the companies, because general counsels today are not simple lawyers. They are business partners. They understand holistically the need of the company, and also they understand the law. So they are essentially in a digitalization process. And I can see that, with more customers, I'm talking with more clients, I'm talking in more meetings, I'm involved. I see the change in paradigms because I see my counterparts, the general counsel from the clients, attending the call and being there, and their teams bringing them, sometimes I would say without modesty, to unblock a discussion, because sometimes the discussion gets stuck, and unless the lawyers are coming in and are explaining to their colleagues specific things, the discussion cannot evolve, because it gets stuck, and we get there and we explain and we make our business clients feel comfortable, and then things are evolving. To continue a bit, digitalization is quite a specific journey, and in this moment, everyone in this world is learning about it. We are learning a lot, and we are learning while doing. And Microsoft, it's a supporter of this journey. And we are learning with each customer depending on what they need, because there is no solution that fits all, like in everything else. And we are there, and we are learning with each customer. The specification of the business, the differences, the particularities of each business, what each company needs, make this process different. And as I said, and I might say it again, I do believe that general counsels are key in this process. And if I would have to to give an advice to the companies that are going through the digitalization process and or that think of engaging, it's I would recommend them to bring their general counsels at the table at the beginning of the process. I've been involved in situation in deals where business colleagues believe that everything is there, everything is set. We are going to deploy this and we are going to implement these processes. And then when they, after quite several months, when they invite everyone around the table and their legal teams were involved, they realized that they've missed important steps and important evaluation, and they didn't know, I don't know, which rules applies and how specific things have to be evaluated from legal perspective. And it can be very frustrating for everyone. It can be very frustrated for the business clients because they were enthusiastic and they said, okay, and now we are moving tomorrow. And then the lawyers are coming at the table and they have to make sure that everything gets done properly. And then the business colleagues are frustrated. And of course, the legal team is frustrated because they are brought in at the table late in the process. Their role is to make sure that everything is done properly and the company is protected and the company's data are protected, and they have to do their work. And sometimes the work cannot be done as fast as business colleagues would want. And then it's not the best atmosphere, let me put it this way, in the team. So my strong recommendation is bring your lawyers, your general counsels, the legal team that you have in your organization at the table as soon as possible in the process, because you might be surprised how smooth things can move, and you'd be surprised of the help and of the questions that will be put on the table. And at the end of the day, everyone's interest is to move forward with what makes sense for business, but also with what makes sense from the legal point of view, so the company is protected. And if the counselors are onboarding from the beginning, then it's the best for everyone and it's the best for the process.
Actually, that brings to mind another topic I wanted to touch with you, data transfers, because a lot of digitalization process projects may involve data transfers. And of course, for everybody in the privacy world, we know that Schrems 2 ruling once again upended the discussions on data transfers outside the EU, especially in the US, but not only. And I'm curious to know, how do you see this topic developing in the next period, particularly because Microsoft is a key player here, especially with the cloud services that you have. And it's also one of the promoters of the EU-based code of conduct that just last month received positive feedback from the European Data Protection Board. So how do you see this evolving? Data transfers, hot topic or something that can be managed?
Now, it is a very hot topic. It is something that became more and more important nowadays in Europe, and there is no month without something new, without something new coming. As you very well said, when we talk about adopting rules or recommendations, or even promoting them or creating them, Microsoft has always been a pioneer. And that makes me very proud working for a company that promotes rules and a proper framework in which everyone that plays in a specific industry. Microsoft runs on trust. This is our statement, that we run on trust, and this means on one side making sure that our business is run with trust and ethics, but also it's means making our customers feeling safe when they use Microsoft technology. Data transfer, it's something that it's, I would say, it's a very hot topic. It is something that became more and more important nowadays in Europe, and there is no month without something new, without something new coming. As you very well said, when we talk about adopting rules or recommendations, or even promoting them or creating them, Microsoft has always been a pioneer. And that makes me very proud working for a company that promotes rules and I would say one of the most important topic that we are talking about or working about in Microsoft recently. And as a company, it's a routine for us to work to advance protection for customers based on any legal developments or recommendation. Actually, we are the first cloud provider that we worked with the European Data Protection Authority for approval of Europe model clauses, and the first one to adopt new technical standard for cloud privacy. We included this in our contracts, and they are part of the commitments that we are making for our customers, for anyone in the market that choose to work with Microsoft as a cloud provider. And actually, as a development of the most recent recommendation on May 6th, so very recent, a month ago, on May 6th this year, our President Brad Smith announced our commitment for EU customers, either that they are commercial or public sector customers in EU, that we will go beyond our existing data storage commitment and enable both processing and storage of all data within the European space. In other words, explaining this, we will not need to move EU customer data outside of European territory. These commitments applies to several of our products, cloud services like Azure, Microsoft 360, or Dynamics. And we actually began to work immediately to add to these added steps, so we make sure that by the end of next year, we are providing this to all the customers in Europe. We are calling this our plan. We call this, EU data boundary for Microsoft Cloud. This is an additional step that we are making to offer comfort to the customers that we have in Europe, and to make sure that all the requirements, all the recommendations coming from the authorities on EU data are respected, or even more than respected. We are offering this comfort, as I said, to our customers. This is not a first step or the first time when Microsoft makes such commitment or takes a step forward protecting customers or offering them the best condition that we can offer. We were the first major technology company that that were there to support and to confirm our compliance with the GDPR when GDPR was coming. And we are offering the GDPR protection not only to the customers in Europe, but to globally. And we offer this as our contract. In our contract, we state that we are offering GDPR compliance, GDPR standard to all the customers, no matter where their data are. Having this in our contract makes it even stronger. It's a commitment. I mean, it's part of the contractual documents that we are signing with our customers. And we want our customers to feel safe and to make sure to feel that their data are protected when they are using Microsoft technology. Talking about data protection, this is definitely a focus area for authorities at all levels, and it's an area where we learn, and it's an area where we want to be next to the customers and to the organizations, and to make sure that everyone that it's not an issue when customers are choosing to have their data stored in Microsoft Cloud. And as a company, we are always there to support the authorities' question or recommendations, and to make sure that they are respected everywhere where we exist as a company.
So if I were to highlight some takeaways on this side, is don't fight the regulations, integrate them, understand them, and integrate them into your products. And that applies not only on technology, but on all projects that involve the collection and processing of personal data. Look at recommendations issued by authorities, but not only. Look at best practices in the market and try to integrate that. And if you are a client of cloud services, look at what is put into the agreement in order to understand if the product you're considering already addresses a lot of the needs on a data protection perspective, because that may be an advantage. For example, if we're talking about cloud, the fact that products should normally be already configured so that, at least on security parts, the GDPR requirements and more broadly data protection requirements are actually being already addressed. So it means a little bit less effort on their part. It's just a matter of having them accessed and properly implemented within the project, right?
That's correct. Yes, that's correct. We are not fighting. We are embedding the recommendations, and we are making in our products, and we want to make sure that our customers, our clients, feel safe when they use our products and services.
And I think that goes for everything, not only for technology-based companies, but for any company that operates right now in the 21st century. Processing of personal data is a reality. Whether you talk about B2C, where a lot of customer data is involved, or if you are talking about internal processes, employees' data, and so on.
Yes.
So I think that with this, we're coming to an end of our discussion. Gabriela, if there's anything else you would like to point at this point?
I would just want to add one thing, that whenever there are rules, clear rules, we see this as actually as an enabler of digitalization. We support having clear rules and clear legal framework, because from practice, I can tell you that whenever we have them clearly stated, this actually encourage cloud adoption, because companies, people know which is the framework, and it's easy to follow the rules. When the rules are not clear or the legislation is old, then when it's becoming more difficult. So we do support having clear legal frameworks and rules, because that makes things easier for everyone. And of course, part of is, as you said, training and making sure that everyone is on the same page and understands. It's very important.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Gabriela, for your valuable insights. I hope we have a chance to discuss more soon.
Thank you very much again for inviting me. Thank you, Roxana. Thank you, dear colleagues from Legal 500. I believe that these are great events in the current circumstances where we could not meet face to face for a long time. Getting the chance to be connected and discuss about topics that are important, it's really something amazing. Thank you very much.
You've been listening to the Legal 500 Corporate Conversation series.